Every year, millions of individuals are uprooted from their homes, driven by the harrowing forces of violence, crippling poverty, and relentless war. In their desperate search for safety and a better future, they embark on perilous journeys across borders, often with little more than hope to guide them. Shockingly, in some countries, the act of crossing a border in pursuit of refuge comes with unimaginable risks, not just rejection, but violence, and in heartbreaking cases, even death. These vulnerable individuals, frequently labeled as illegal immigrants, face a brutal reality, being met with hostility, treated as threats rather than people in need, and encountering systems that prioritize exclusion over empathy. The consequences are often tragic, as their dreams of safety collide with political, social, and institutional barriers. Today, we're uncovering the grim truth behind countries where crossing a border can turn deadly. We'll delve into the intricate web of politics, social dynamics, and human rights violations that fuel this crisis. Together, we'll explore the lives caught in the crossfire, the systemic failures that perpetuate this cycle, and the urgent need for change. Let's dissect the harsh realities of a world where seeking sanctuary can cost you everything. Poland before the border. A complex reality. Poland, officially the Republic of Poland, is a nation steeped in history and culture, strategically positioned in Central Europe. Bordered by 7 countries, Germany to the west, the Czech Republic and Slovakia to the south, and Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, and Russia to the northeast. It covers an expansive 312,696 square kilometers, making it the 7th largest country in Europe. With a population exceeding 38 million, Poland's bustling capital, Warsaw, serves as the political, cultural, and economic hub. In recent years, Poland has gained global attention not just for its heritage, but for its hardline stance on illegal immigration, particularly along its border with Belarus. Amid a sharp increase in migrant crossings, the Polish government has adopted stringent measures, including policies permitting the use of lethal force against individuals attempting to cross the border unlawfully. These actions, justified by the government as necessary for national security, aim to address what they perceive as an overwhelming influx of undocumented migrants. However, these measures have ignited a firestorm of criticism from human rights organizations, which argue that such actions are disproportionate and violate international laws safeguarding human dignity and the right to seek asylum. Activists highlight the troubling militarization of border enforcement, a trend that is increasingly visible across Europe. Reports of injuries and fatalities among migrants have drawn sharp condemnation, with human rights advocates labeling Poland's policies as excessively punitive. These measures have sparked widespread protests, both domestically and internationally, as calls grow louder for a more humane approach to addressing migration challenges. The humanitarian toll of Poland's border policies continues to raise global concern, shedding light on the delicate balance between national security and the fundamental rights of those fleeing violence, poverty, and persecution. As tensions escalate, Poland's actions remain under intense international scrutiny, reflecting a broader European struggle to reconcile border control with compassion and legality. Saudi Arabia. A graveyard at the border. Saudi Arabia, officially the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a vast nation dominating the Arabian Peninsula. Spanning approximately 2.15 million square kilometers, it is the largest country in the Middle East and the 5th largest in Asia. Its capital, Riyadh, stands alongside other major cities such as Jeddah, Mecca, and Medina, the latter two being Islam's holiest cities. However, Saudi Arabia's border with Yemen has gained notoriety as a deadly crossing for many migrants, particularly Ethiopians fleeing conflict and extreme poverty. A harrowing report by Human Rights Watch, HRW, uncovered the grim reality that, between March 2022 and June 2023, Saudi border guards killed hundreds of Ethiopian migrants attempting to enter the kingdom. Eyewitness testimonies reveal horrifying accounts of migrants being targeted with explosive weapons and small arms fire. Survivors shared chilling stories of being forced to choose which limb to be shot before being attacked at close range. Among the heart-wrenching tales is that of Mustafa Sophia Mohammed, a 21-year-old Ethiopian who lost part of his leg during a chaotic border crossing. Mustafa recounted the night his group was ambushed by gunfire, leaving many dead or gravely injured. "I didn't even notice I was shot," he said, recalling the moment he realized his injuries only when he attempted to stand. The HRW report estimates that in 2022 alone, as many as 794 Ethiopian migrants were killed by Saudi forces, with violence persisting into 2023. Despite mounting evidence, the Saudi government has repeatedly denied these allegations, dismissing the reports as baseless. However, testimonies and evidence from various sources suggest a systematic campaign of violence, including the use of snipers and heavy artillery, aimed at deterring migrants from crossing the border. These actions have sparked international outrage, with human rights advocates accusing Saudi Arabia of crimes against humanity. The scale and brutality of these killings have prompted urgent calls for global accountability and intervention to address what many consider a gross violation of human rights. As the world watches, the plight of migrants at Saudi Arabia's border remains a grim reminder of the lengths to which some are forced to go in search of safety, and the unimaginable dangers they face along the way. Libya. A perilous crossroads for migrants. Libya, officially the state of Libya, lies in North Africa, bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the north and 6 nations: Egypt, Sudan, Chad, Niger, Algeria, and Tunisia. Spanning nearly 1.8 million square kilometers, Libya is the 4th largest country in Africa and the 16th largest in the world. Despite its geographical significance, Libya has become one of the most perilous regions for migrants attempting to reach Europe. Years of conflict and political instability have transformed Libya into a hub for human trafficking and exploitation. Migrants seeking passage to Europe often fall victim to horrific conditions, facing abuse, extortion, and violence. Detention centers in Libya have gained infamy for their brutal treatment of migrants, with widespread reports of torture, inhumane living conditions, and even killings. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, has documented countless instances of violence against migrants. Many are caught in a harrowing cycle of abuse, perpetrated by both state actors and criminal networks. Even those who manage to escape detention centers often face grave risks at sea. In 2022, hundreds of migrants lost their lives attempting the dangerous journey across the Mediterranean from Libya to Europe, with many others forcibly returned to Libyan shores to endure further suffering. The plight of migrants in Libya underscores the urgent need for global attention and action. These individuals, driven by desperation and hope for a better future, are met with unimaginable horrors. Each statistic represents a human life, a story of dreams, courage, and resilience cut short by violence and neglect. The dire situation in Libya reflects a broader global crisis, where migration policies often prioritize border security over basic human rights. As stories of abuse and tragedy continue to emerge, the international community faces a moral imperative to address the systemic failures enabling such atrocities. Humanitarian intervention, coupled with comprehensive policy reforms, is essential to protect vulnerable populations. Governments and organizations must work together to dismantle trafficking networks, improve conditions for migrants, and ensure safe pathways for those seeking refuge. In conclusion, the human cost of migration policies in Libya, Saudi Arabia, Poland, and other nations serves as a stark reminder of the need for compassionate responses to the migration crisis. Upholding the dignity and rights of all individuals is not just a political obligation, it is a moral one. By confronting these harsh realities, the world can strive to ensure that no one is met with violence for seeking a better life.